by a Dirty Leeds fan.
Welcome to our true thoughts on the European Super League. I'm delighted to be joined by two of my good friends, which I have got with us this evening. One is my good friend Mike Orman. Mike, how are you doing, my friend? You okay?
Yeah, not too bad. I wasn't laughing at the Super League. I was laughing at Wayne's joke that he made off camera there, yeah.
And also I'm joined by another good friend, Wayne Schumann. Wayne, how are you doing, my friend?
All good, man.
Good. We're going to get into this then. And well, first of all three of us here tonight all say this, and so do everyone around football. Well, the Leeds United supporters just got a banner with saying earlier, say no to the Super League. This is our true thoughts. You can see the teams going across the bottom of the screen. They're Arsenal, Chelsea, Liverpool, Man City, Manchester United, and Tottenham have all signed up from the Premier League. And we've got two Arsenal fans with me here tonight. And first of all, Mike, what's your thoughts on this, being an Arsenal fan? And I know you've had quite a number of things to say. Mike, what's your thoughts?
First of all, don't refer to me as an Arsenal fan. I don't want to be in the same breath as that club at the moment. But no, I am massively against it on all levels. I think it's all about greed. It's all about lining their own back pockets. And it's taken away the integrity of football as we all know and love it. And I don't really know what else I can add on top of that, really. It's an utter farce. The clubs are actually pushing for this. They actually see that, we're an elite football club. I'm going to go to Arsenal as the club that I've followed for, about 25, 26 years now, something around about that. And there's nothing elite about this club. There's no sort of elite players. There's nothing elite about our managerial structure or our ownership, or the Cronkies and anyone like that. There's nothing elite about any of that. So first of all, we shouldn't be in that same breath as Chelsea, Man City, and Liverpool anyway, because they actually are able to compete and win trophies. So that sums that up. And of course, we're in the Europa League as well. We're in the semi-final as it stands at the moment. We're going to have an opportunity to play that, but of course, ramifications, we might not even be given that opportunity anyway. And what are we as fans expected to do? Are we expected to sit there and watch Arsenal, possibly knock out Villarreal, get through to a final, and then it's Arsenal, Man United possibly, two sides that are in this Super League, and whoever wins it would go through to the Champions League. But neither side wants to be in the Champions League. The Champions League to them is the lesser competition. The Premier League is a lesser competition. The FA Cup is a lesser competition. The League Cup is a lesser competition. They don't care about any of that. They don't care about the fans. They don't care about the history, and the names that have gone before them, like whether that's staff, players, managers, whatever. All they care about is themselves. And I want to get Wayne's thoughts as well, because I could go off on a tangent here for I really could. I'm getting seriously passionate about this, and I, as an Arsenal fan, I don't even know if I can watch this club anymore this season. I don't know. It has got to that point that, we've got a game on Friday night against Everton. I don't even want to support the club. I was meant to commentate earlier tonight on Leeds against Liverpool, but I didn't want to feed into Liverpool Football Club or to anything associated to them. So I backed down about 10 minutes, 15 minutes before kickoff. I
understand where you're coming from, Mike. And just before we move on and get your thoughts, Wayne, just saying hello to a few people. Now we've got John Redmond in, he's a Leeds fan, says he's delighted with the Leeds point tonight. Should have been 3 against the Merseyside Reds, as Leeds United called them this evening. Also, very good evening to our wonderful friend Giggs as well. You're doing okay, Giggs, this evening, all the way from America. Thank you very much for tuning in.
Yeah, she's one of the decent Americans, not one that's fucking. And I am going to swear because it's after 9 o'clock as well, after the sort of watership hours. Not one that's actually just all about greed and all about themselves. Like she actually.
Can we get it going? Hashtag Arsenal Yankees.
Yeah.
Well,
should we get it going? Hashtag Arsenal Yankees.
I said it earlier, Russ. I said it on Holly's stream. I feel for Giggsy now. Like I brought her into the Arsenal family. I brought her across to support this club, and I feel embarrassed and ashamed to have done that. Like I've literally I literally don't know how I can live with myself.
Yes, I get what you're saying, Mike. We've also got John Kaling. He says, "Evening, Russ. Good result tonight. Positive, very good result tonight." We've also got Eddie in. I think he's an awesome. I think he's an awesome fan. He says,
My boy, yeah, how you doing, mate? All right.
he says, "I couldn't imagine Arsenal not playing in the FA Cup, and it's Arsenal's competition. It's literally called the Emirates FA Cup, and
Yeah.
Arsenal no longer going to be able to play in that." Also, Josh is in the house. Thank you very much. Good evening to you, Josh. We've also got Giggs as well. She says, "I'm the good American. You are, Giggs." Very spot on there. We've got Chris Aldred. He's a Man City fan. He says, "I'm a Man City fan. This Super League is going to drain us from everyone watching our teams. Again, I feel betrayed.
Yeah.
No to the Super League."
And what I want to say, can I say something to Chris's point there as well?
Yeah, just want to say, Mike.
Go on, yeah.
Answers, "Go on the mic to Leeds," and he says, "I can't even believe I'm saying that." And a lot of fans tonight, all behind Leeds United, wanting us to get a positive result or even go on to beat them. We got a draw against them. Possibly could have won if we could have put chances away second half.
Yeah.
But good point against one of the Super League sides who are going to break away, who don't care about the clubs like Leeds United.
Can I come in there, Russ, as well?
Go on, mate, what do you want to say?
It goes on exactly to what you've just said and what Chris has said as well. The Super League is going to drain us from ever watching our teams again. It's exactly that. We're not going to be able to watch our teams because, for two reasons. First of all, they're going to probably end up playing these games in America or abroad at prime time for them. That's what I think as well. So obviously the English fans will be the ones suffering because we'd have to get up at ridiculous time if we want to watch a Super League game between Arsenal and Tottenham for the North London derby. It doesn't even take place in London. Make of that what you will. But that's the way I see it going. I really do, and it is really becoming franchise right now. There's a lot of clubs that are not happy about this. There's been many protests tonight, and many protests planned for the rest of this week as well. Arsenal obviously play Friday at home against Everton, and I'm pretty sure that I've seen earlier there's something planned for there as well, as there is for the League Cup final with the weekend too.
Yes, I just want to put this up as well, Mike, while you continue. But this is what Leeds put up earlier at Ellen Road tonight, and the War fans as well. Leeds War shirts as well. He says, "Earn it on the pitch. Football is the fans," and I've got to agree with that statement. And let's fetch Wayne on this as well. And Wayne, you followed Arsenal for quite a while. What's your thoughts on this situation? I think Wayne may have just frozen on his.
That's all right. Yeah. I was going to just finish off anyway. Just obviously what I said beforehand to you and also to Wayne as well. I really like what Matt Edgar's just put in there as well. That's a great comment as well.
Let's game up in a second. This is man behind Trevor Sports. He says, "Cancel the League Cup final, the 6 ESL clubs out of the EPL, kick Chelsea out of the FA Cup. He says Southampton to play again in the final, kick City out, well, Chelsea out of the Champions League, give PSG the trophy, rather than play Bayern to defend it, kick Arsenal United out of Europa League, play the final of Rome v Villarreal, fine top all 6 clubs, their TV and league revenue, and government step in and buy the club owners out, have fans own 51% stakes in all the clubs, and make that the law." Will get Wayne back in a second to get his points as well.
But I really like that. I think that, I agree with Mark. I'm ashamed to say I'm an Arsenal fan right now. Kroenke has really killed this club. And we sold our souls to move to the Emirates, remember, as well. We were talking about that beforehand, weren't we, Wayne, in regards to the Highbury days. And obviously we kind of mentioned when our first games were and things like that. But we basically mentioned that we sold our souls to move to the Emirates, and we've sort of sold down our beliefs from that, and now they're just continuing on with that. They don't care about the fans, they don't care about the history, they don't care about the competitions as well. And what I will say, going back to like the FA Cup and things as well, say Arsenal have an FA Cup tie against, I don't know, Barnet, for example, right, on a Saturday. They're not going to send their main team to Barnet because the Kroenkes aren't going to want their players there with the opportunity of being injured. If they've got a European Super League game in 2 days later against
So Juventus or
yeah,
AC Milan.
Yeah. And
When you would
it
have
comes
a
back
say
to
on
that,
this as well. When you would have a say on this Super League, you've been following Arsenal for quite a while. You also follow Stevenage like Mike does. What's your thoughts on this? But let me just get this comment up from my good friend and Waltham United fan Tom Engley. He says, "Sending the Wheelstone Raider." But Wayne, your thoughts on this European Super League, my friend?
I just echo everything Mike said. Really, I feel ashamed to be an Arsenal fan right now. I feel they've ripped the heart and soul out of the club. I feel that they've basically spat on not just Arsenal fans, but they spat on every football fan today. Because it could be a top 6 today, then it could be the top 10 tomorrow, then it could be the top 15 next week, and then all of a sudden we become the NFL of the football world. I just think that, I don't know, man. I've had rants about it, and I think it's disgusting. I just feel like, I think Herbert Chapman would be turning in his grave right about now if he knew what was going on. Yeah, I think all the old Arsenal greats would be absolutely livid with this.
Jose Reyes,
as we fans are, and they don't care. We've known for a long time that football is a business. It has been from since the Premier League was formed in '92. It's a business. It has been. Champions League is a business. UEFA Cup is a business, but you can manage a business, but when you try and franchise it like America, it ain't going to work. Not over here. They don't understand the history of the clubs. They don't understand the heritage. They don't understand the fans, the communities. A lot of these clubs, mostly every club in England, was built on communities and community trust. It
Arsenal
was built on
hugely based on community. Yeah.
Arsenal were built by miners.
Mm-hmm.
Back in the day, it's before it become anything to do with Arsenal. It was like, this whole thing, they don't understand it, and I think the Americans don't. And it's not to diss Americans, because I love a lot of their sport. I love the ice hockey, and I'm a massive ice hockey fan, and I still watch it, and I love the NBA and that. But what they're trying to do, it works in sports like that, because they haven't got the lower leagues. They haven't got the pyramid system. So they stick them all in each divisions, and then they say, right, there's no relegation, no promotion. You just finish where you finish. The top 5 go into the championship playoffs or whatever. It works. But over here, it ain't going to work. It's not going to work. And I believe in what Gary Neville said earlier, that the teams that are signed up to this should be fined. They should be fined. They should be deducted points, and they should be kicked out of the respective competitions and left in to be taught a lesson that you can't just break away from any league that you're in without.
And Gary Neville, I agree completely with that as well. Even to the point of taking the trophies, and we got on 49 undefeated and whatever, and we sing about that, but I'm completely in agreement as well. You have to take away everything that they've won in the past, because if they're not going to be a part of that competition, then you should associate yourself to them.
And going back to the FA Cup, we've won the FA Cup more times than any other club in this country.
Yeah.
Right. We hold the most records of FA Cup wins. United are second. We've won it we've won it. What is it? 16 now.
I think it's either 15 or 16. I can double check.
I can't actually remember. But the point is, we've won it more times than any other club in the country. What are they going to do? Are they going to scrap that from the history books?
Exactly. They're going to have to, though, surely.
And are they going to scrap the Invincible year from the history books? Are they going to scrap United's treble winning year from the history books? And then all of a sudden, United never won the treble in '99, never became the first English club to win it. Are they going to scrap Tottenham winning the Audi Cup? Are they going to scrap?
I love how you thought that in.
Are they going to scrap City winning the league for the first time in 40 odd years when they did it?
Liverpool last season as well. Yeah.
Yeah. It's if they join the Super League, they're going to have to revamp every single trophy in this England, and they're going to have to revamp probably the Premier League and start from scratch. So whoever wins it next will be the first team to win that cup.
Yeah, this is the Arsenal Cups that they have won during their history so far.
Or is it
so
14? I think it's 14.
14
14
FA
FA
Yeah.
Cups,
14
Yeah.
times. Yeah, it's
16
14.
and
Yeah.
and 16 Community Shields,
Yeah.
one League
That's it.
Centenary
16 community
Trophies,
shields. I knew it was
2
one.
League Cups or EFL Cups as well, 13 Premier Leagues in there. They've won European Cup Winners' Cup United, and they won the Cities Fair Cup as well also. So that's, and then they've not competed in the
Yeah.
county FA, but
So
those are the trophies that Arsenal's won there, guys. If anyone wants to know.
And that's it. What I want to say.
So
go
we've won it 14. We've won it 14 times. United won it 13. So they're going to scrap all of that from the history books.
12
They probably would. And I said this earlier, and I can see it happening. I can see us being. I can see in 2-3 years' time, Stan Kroenke building a £5 billion mega stadium and relocating Arsenal to America, and then it would be like AFC Wimbledon, what they've done. In the end, it would be Arsenal AFC, and we'd have to, or AFC Arsenal. We'd have to start from scratch again, and then we'd be in the lower leagues. I could see it happening. I could see them going to. I could see Arsenal being relocated, and it's just going to kill it, man. It really is going to kill football. And I mean, I haven't met one person yet that said, "Yeah, this is a great idea. Let's do it."
So,
yes, and like
I've not
Patrick
met
Bamford,
one person.
Yeah, Wayne, and like Patrick Bamford said after the match tonight, he was speaking about it. He was asked about it after the Leeds game tonight against the Merseyside Reds this evening. I'm going to call it for them now, and they've actually said he's comprehending. No one can comprehend it as well, and even the players don't. He says he's looked on Twitter and all the social media that he's got, and he's not seen one fan that's actually come out and said that he likes it. And I'm in agreement with.
But what are the players thinking right now?
Yes, and also when, like you said, what's the players thinking? What they're going to say? Are they going to say? Because they're going to say to him, "You can't play for your country."
Yeah, exactly.
So the likes of Bruno Fernandes, Harry Kane may join the likes of West Ham, Leeds, etc., so they can still continue playing for the country.
That's what I said. What are the players thinking now? Because if the players join this league and they've been told that they can't play for their countries, the England national team in 2-3 years' time will be made up of Championship players, League One and League Two players. That's the only positive spin I can put on this, because that might not be a bad thing, because it would give the youngsters a chance to come through and see what they can do from lower leagues. But even that, it's like, I can't.
No. I don't know how you can say that would be a good thing, because there's one in maybe 10.
not a good thing. A positive. It might be a positive out of a bad situation.
I don't see that being a positive though. There's one in maybe 10 players that would actually make it, right? Take Stevenage. There's Ben Wilmot obviously has made it, but there's lots of players that have been released and haven't been given the opportunity to progress up through into higher division clubs.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. All the top players won't be able to push them out. They would have to go to the lower leagues and choose international
those players have only not made it because they're not good enough.
Yeah, well, I mean, I don't know, man. I mean, there's definitely. I'm just against the whole idea of this because, like I said, I just think it's going to completely destroy football, and in the end, it's just going to be. I don't know, man. In the end, it's gonna hurt the Premier League and it's going to hurt the divisions below, because there's a lot of money that comes from the Premier League to keep these clubs in the Premier League.
Yeah,
especially the so-called Big Six that we apparently are, yet we can't even freaking beat Fulham and compete in the Premier League.
Exactly.
I don't understand how we're a so-called big side at the moment.
I don't understand the timing.
For years.
How have we come out and we've said we're one of the founding members of the European Super League 3 or 4 hours? No. Go on.
We're not a founding member. Arsenal Football Club are not a founding member. Stan Kroenke is a founding member.
Or Stan Kroenke.
Arsenal Football Club.
How have the club had the audacity to put that out 3 or 4 hours on the back of us scraping a 1-1 draw against Fulham, who were pretty much relegated to the Championship anyway in the last minute of injury time?
It's Stan Kroenke, and even Arteta came out today and said that the players are left frustrated with the news this morning. He said that Jurgen Klopp said that he had no idea this was going on.
Yeah.
Arteta said that he had no idea it was going on, and neither did the Arsenal players. And he said that they're at the training ground now and they're feeling frustrated with the idea. It seems funny that it seems funny.
How much of that to believe when Mourinho has walked out of Tottenham. Because obviously Mourinho, I'm pretty sure they're saying it's based around results in regards to Mourinho getting sacked and
yes, I think that just
doesn't add up.
I just think with Mourinho, I think that he probably was going to get the sack, but I think that this could have just pushed him over the edge. Yeah. And I think because he's a passionate man about football, all right? He might not have been great the last couple of years, but if he walked out because of that reason, then I would back him on that.
Yeah,
even though even though he's been a bit of a dick the last few years in football, and he was manager of our rival club. But if he walked out and if he turned around to the Tottenham owner and said, I don't agree with the Super League, I ain't taking my players and training them because you've joined it, I will back him 100% on that. And I will back anyone that does the same because I don't agree with it. I don't agree with it at all.
Do us a favour, Russ. Bring Ashley in. I know Ashley said there that he wants to be involved in the live stream.
Ashley,
I think what you should do...
Ashley, give me a message on Facebook because I know you're friends with me on Facebook. Do you want me a message and I'll send you the link?
Don't worry, Russ. If anyone wants to join, I don't care who you are. If you've got an opinion, hit that link.
Yeah.
Unless you're another Leeds United fan, then don't join.
Mike, he's not going to act on Facebook this, so I'll just put it on me. So I'll just send him the link.
Russ, can I just say, anyone could join, but if you're another Leeds United fan, we don't want to be surrounded by anymore, so don't join.
No, we need to get somebody to even the numbers. Bring somebody from Sheffield United or from Sheffield Wednesday or something, Barnsley, Rotherham.
I've just sent him the link.
Or if you're any Bradford City fan, then come right in.
Yeah.
So I've just sent Ashley the link. Ashley, should have it on your inbox, my friend, if you want to come in. But if anyone's watching on YouTube and wants to come in, just click on that link and come and join us. And like a lot of people have said this, and a lot of people have said this, I've spoke to you about it, Mike, off stream, and spoke this. It's all about the money.
Money and greed. It is. And I mean, this is how I'll go back to this, right? I'll go back to 3-4 years ago with Arsenal, right? Do you remember when it came out that Stan Kroenke spent like, what was it, 3-odd billion whatever on a ranch in America? Yeah? When Arsenal was struggling to sign left backs at the time, centre backs and keepers and everything, and he's going out.
We needed like 7-8 new players at that time. Yeah,
and he's going out spending all these £1 billion on ranches and houses. It's like, hang on a minute, how about pumping some of that money back into the club that you've been absolutely just killing the last few years? And
I'll tell you what, there was one video that I saw on Twitter earlier, which is absolutely brilliant. There's a game that was taking place out in America. I think it was a pre-season game, something like that. And the Cronkies were out there. I think it was an Arsenal game. I can't remember who it was against or anything like that. And there was this girl or this woman who, like, and basically people are shouting to the Cronkies, you know what you are, you know what you are, money grabber, you know what you are. And this one American woman just turns around, watch the game, like, nah. You know, we are the fans. We are people that know about the history of this club. We have been through the good and the bad. You're there to feed into their franchise. We're Arsenal Football Club. We're not McDonald's.
See, I'm all for like when they was trying to extend the MLS, for example. I'm all for like building America, like building football up in America. Because America have got a massive following of English clubs, and they also follow their local clubs. I mean, New York City have got a huge following for New York City. New York Red Bulls as well. LA Galaxy. Yeah. I'm all for making it bigger out there, but not at the expense of my club over here. Not after the history that we've got. Not after the, I mean, what's the North London derby going to mean in the Super League?
Nothing.
If it's played abroad,
absolutely nothing. It will be.
Only thing you'll benefit, Mike, before you jump in. Only thing you'll benefit is the people living in that country where it's being played, who can actually get a ticket and actually go. The fans over here probably won't be able to afford the money to travel across there to it.
But then even with the fans over there be able to get tickets because it's all going to be rich. It's going to be like hundreds of pounds for a ticket. It's going to be corporate and politicians and everything getting tickets.
This is Liverpool fans. This is Liverpool fans tonight when at Ellen Road during the protest before the game.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of them. But that's what I'm saying. What's a Manchester derby going to mean if it's played abroad? If a North London derby is not in North London, then I don't want to know about it. Unless it's a cup final, unless it's a cup final like a UEFA Cup final, and it's held somewhere, then that's different because you're.
But what you're saying about that? What's it going to mean? What's it going to mean in that competition in general? It's say Arsenal and Spurs are competing the very bottom of those, last place and second from last place in that table, getting pumped by everybody else 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. God knows whatever number you want to throw in there every single week. It's not going to mean nothing. Like literally, all it's going to be is it would be. I can't even say it'll be a relegation battle because there's no relegation.
No, I'll tell you what. The history
from the football, Mike, with having that because a lot of people said earlier, Mike, and I'm not sure if you both agree with this. After about 1 or 2 seasons, these so-called Big Sixes, whatever they want to be called now, or the European Big Six.
Shameful Six.
Yeah, Shameful Six, where as you mentioned there, they'll want to come back, they'll come crawling back to the Premier League, and I hope the Premier League stick 2 fingers up to them and say, no, you're not coming back, you've made your bed, now you can go and lie in it and play them every single week. You can't come and play in our league.
Do you know what they should do? You know what? They shouldn't ban them, but do you know what they should do? They should say, right, okay, you could come back, but you've got to start off in the 12th tier of English football.
Or start at the very bottom. Yeah,
you start at the very bottom like everyone else.
Yeah, or
you can't just buy your way back in.
Yeah, like Graham Smith, who covers Leeds United, said he covers Leeds for the Yorkshire Evening Post. He says put them in the Northern Counties East League Division 1, where they play the likes of my local side, Pargate FC, where they don't get that many fans. You play there, quite a few. And where you way up the pyramid from that league, play Pargate, play Maltby, everything like this. And Nick's made a very good point here, man.
Two very good points.
Two very good points. This is the first one. Plain and simple, it's goddamn shambles. It's disgusting what these owners have done to our clubs. It's shameful. Even if it falls through, I worry that the damage is already done. And she's gone on to say as well, this is the problem. The damage is already done. It's not the fans, managers, or players' faults. It's disgusting owners. Why have they done this to us? And my friend here, Derby County fan, says since Spurs last won the league, Leeds time 3, Derby times 2, Forest, Villa, Ipswich, Blackburn,
Leicester City as well.
You can throw Leicester into there as well. Have all won the league.
Yeah.
Since Spurs last won
the league. Can I just say right?
I agree with that point there from Tom as well. Where
you talk about history with clubs, right? But as we was going back to derbies meaning something, I'll tell you what, if Arsenal and Tottenham do join this league and Manchester United and Manchester City, those derbies, the history is going to be scrapped to them as well.
Yeah, of course it will. Yeah.
It's going to mean absolutely nothing what's happened with us in the past. You know, I like waking up on derby days. Like I like the derby that we beat Spurs 2-1 a few weeks back or last month. When I watch them derby games, I feel like excited. I feel sick at the same time because I'm like, I can't watch this, man. This is just too much. But you know, when we
tell you what, it goes back to the 4-2 when we had Lucas Torreira. We were, what was it? We
went 2-0 down.
2-0 down, and we come back and we won it 4-2, and Torreira's taking his top off and showing the passion. Like that's what we want to see as fans. We want to see that the players and that the owners, the managers are on the same page.
I'll never forget that day because I remember the commentator saying that when we scored that 4th goal, and the commentator saying it's the day for Arsenal in the derbies. And if you join a European Super League, it ain't going to be that. It's just going to be like, oh, great goal. What commentators are we going to have? Are we going to have American freaking commentators that know nothing about the game?
I hope not.
What they'll probably have John Champion, who used to cover the Premier League and Champions League over it.
They'll probably
do commentary.
Andy Gray and Martin Tyler will be back in again.
Or they'll probably call Donald Trump in to do it.
Yeah.
Ross, drop me a message on Facebook and I'll send you a link across. In a few minutes, we're going to get another West Ham fan on with a friend of mine, Corey from the West Ham Way. He's going to be joining us very, very soon, so make sure you stick around
Sweet.
for that as
That,
well.
that's 4 friends
And
you
this
reckon
is-
you've got, Russ.
Josh Arnold, who's a very good friend, he's a Middlesbrough fan as well. He says, I feel for the players of these clubs. They're like Kane, Rashford, etc. What if they disagree with this? Wouldn't they have a say, and then UEFA won't play them in the World Cup, so England, no offence, we will have no chance. But if you look at the players who missed out on this last squad, like say Conor Cody, who didn't get a look in the last 3 games, and Tyrone Mings and players like that, Target and say Luke Ayling for right back and
Ollie Watkins,
Ollie
Jack
Watkins,
Grealish,
Jack Grealish. Also the likes of Patrick Bamford, who just missed out on the last squad as well. They could be making up the England squad for the Euros if this goes. Could be as bad as early as this summer's Euros as well. So very interesting thing if you to see. And we're going to try and get the West Ham fan on me, one of the first one of the West Ham fans that I know.
All right, boys,
Ross
I'm
Welch, come on.
gonna have to cut this short because my battery's flashing at me. I need to charge my phone up.
Okay,
Yeah,
mate.
no worries,
Not to worry,
Good to
mate.
get you.
Right,
Good
no-
to get your
yeah,
points,
no
mate.
worries. I'll tell you what, we'll do a longer one over the weekend or something, or like we'd see what happens in the week, and then we'll do a
Yeah.
longer one over the
Yeah,
weekend.
probably
see where
Saturday,
it,
Saturday afternoon, evening, late evening, early evening, probably when if you're around, mate.
yeah, that's
something
cool.
down
That's
there.
cool. Yeah, just let me know, mate.
Yeah,
All right.
me or Michael let you know, mate, and we'll catch. Good to have you on, mate. Anyway, cheers.
Yeah, all right,
Yeah,
later.
Cheers, mate.
Good points from Wayne there. When
Yeah.
you agree, Mike, some very good points in there, and like.
There's a couple of comments in here as well. Nicole.
Yeah, this one here from Ashley said, Andy should have said, they've made their bed, they can lie on it, though it may be a bed of nails, which I completely agree with that. He's also said this as well.
This
It's nonsense. If the EPL, I think EFL he means in there as well, FA, UEFA stick to their guns. It's a worthless competition in all but money. Deduct points now. They've broken the rules, and Nick has put this in as well. We'll get Ross up in a second. A West Ham fan will be on as well. Nick has put this won't just affect the shameful sixth. This is and will affect football in general. They're killing the game. They get away with this. They will continue to do more. I'm just going to fetch it now. Ross Boyle's a West Ham fan. And how are you doing, Ross? All right, mate?
Yeah, I'm good, pal. How are you? How are you two?
All right, mate. Yeah, all right, mate.
Thank you.
It's been a rough 24 hours, mate, really, to be honest, for me as an Arsenal fan, but for anyone that loves football as much as we do, yeah.
Yeah, and Ross actually put out
100%.
I actually said to Mike yesterday, and I said it to him earlier tonight in a Facebook group chat I'm in with him and a few others, football is no longer the sport I fell in love with. And Ross, as a West Ham fan, potentially looking at this, if the Big Six get kicked out of the league, could be going into the Champions League, you could be going into it anyway, the way you're performing. What would you make to all this Big Six, all this Super League nonsense, mate?
So I spoke to a few friends today, obviously, that are like yourself, like other people on here, Man United fans, Liverpool, so and so. But of course, they're not happy about it. But then they say, for me as a West Ham fan, wouldn't we be happy about it because it means we win the Prem if they get kicked out? It's quite the opposite. Everyone, when it comes to cups, obviously, you want to win it and earn it. By earn it, obviously, to win it, you want to earn it. You don't want to just be handed it. And that's like this Premier League. Like, don't get me wrong, we're having a great season, unbelievable season. But I wouldn't want us just to be handed a trophy because it just doesn't feel earned right. It just doesn't.
That's it. It goes back to earning 100%. It's all about you have to, if Arsenal got into the Champions League through winning the UEFA League, they've earned the Europa League. Sorry, they've earned their spot. Whether they finish, 12th or whatever, it doesn't matter because they've gone on. They've had a very good Europa League competition.
I agree.
And if you finish fourth or third in the Premier League as well, it's the same. But I think from a West Ham perspective, it's very, very different to get your opinion. It is actually quite interesting as well because obviously you beat a couple of those teams. You've beaten a few of those teams. You've drawn with a few of those teams this season. You were 3-0 up against Arsenal the other week, and Arsenal are now coming out as saying that they're an elite club. And this is the same Arsenal club or Arsenal Football Club, sorry, I should say, that got a 97th minute equaliser yesterday against Fulham, who are going to be relegated to the Championship. Same Arsenal that have got 1 point out of 6 against Burnley, for example. We drew with Leeds earlier in the season as well, didn't we?
You got 4 points out to Leeds this season, man. You got 4 points against Leeds as well, my team. And Ross, I don't know if you saw the banner that Leeds had in the ground, so I'm not sure if you saw the game this evening, but this is what Leeds put in the ground. Earn it on the pitch. Football is the fans, and
100%.
Yeah, 100%.
No, I totally agree. I think this is what's the problem with people like ourselves. Obviously, we love football because it's the game. We love the game. Yeah. But these people that are higher up, that earn all these big money and that, like your owners, the chairmen and stuff, they don't care about the game really. They just care about lining their pockets with money.
Oh, and that's the
problem.
Because it's come out during COVID as well. That's even more relevant, because Arsenal sacked 55 staff members. I remember that, Mike. Other clubs have sacked members and things like that. And there's clubs like the bottom ends of the National League and the League 1 and League 2 and even
Southend, for example, Mike. Southend fans there coming out to the Football League into the conference next season.
Are all struggling and in terms of not being able to play their games. Some of them even in the Conference South, Conference North and below, furloughing their players, things like that. And they've just come out just to line their own pockets. They've come out and they're expecting to be playing these games every single week, and that's going to be their priority. Whereas at the bottom end of the pyramid, there's so many clubs, more added to that every single day, that are in dire straits and are on the brink of folding the football clubs, and communities are just being torn apart.
Absolutely, Mike. Absolutely. And we're going to get on another West Ham fan now. It's from West Ham Way on YouTube, and he's on All Leeds TV on Before the Whistle Blows every Friday night. It's Corey. How you doing, Corey? You all right, man?
I'm all right, mate. Yeah, a bit of a mad 24 hours, I suppose, for everyone. It's all a bit up in the air, mate.
Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely. We've got another West Ham fan in as well, because you're not on your own. We've got Ross, who's the West Ham fan. We've got my friend Mike, who supports Arsenal, but he's told me not to say that. He also follows his hometown club, Stevenage, as well. And I saw your thoughts yesterday as well, Corey.
Before you bring Corey in, I was just going to say, I didn't realise West Ham had more than 2 fans. So I know, obviously, I know Ross was one. I know Spencer was another, but now you're obviously the third. Actually, my neighbour's one, so that makes 4 of you. So.
Do you know what, mate? I'm too tired. I ain't even got a response. To be fair, I'll let you have it. If I was in a sharper mood. What were you saying, Ross? What was the question?
What's your thoughts on it all, then? I know you said last night on All Leeds TV when they did their reaction stream, but I thought I'd get you on here as well. What's your thoughts, my friend?
Yeah, I just more sort of contempt towards it. I think it's the day's gone on and the plans have been unveiled, and I think everyone's been glued to Sky Sports for the past couple of hours trying to understand where the players lie on it, where the pundits lie on it. And obviously it's good to see, I think, as a football fan, a lot of people are uniting against it, which is important. I still think that they've thought this through, this group. I don't think it's people are saying, well, hypothetically speaking, if a lot of fans of these clubs that joined boycotted it, then you could probably influence it. And we don't know about player power just yet. But at the same time, they thought this through. They were speaking today about, could they legally do it? And they've already spoke to lawyers in terms of getting that legislation through. So for me, I think it's worrying. The big thing as a West Ham fan is looking tomorrow morning when 14 of those clubs in the Premier League are sitting down and discussing it, because I've heard they're ready to just throw the book at them. And I'm not surprised, to be fair. I think either way, they've got to be sanctioned or fined or something. I know they're important to the league, but I think their behaviour is absolutely disgusting. And I'm sure a lot of the fans would agree.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I fully agree with that as well. And, that's coming from an Arsenal fan who has been, as I stated at the start of this stream, has been an Arsenal fan for about 25, 26 years. And, I've seen the good times. I've seen this season and other seasons in recent years where we've been struggling on the pitch as well. When, form and things like that have really not been going in our favour. But I just think that, I can see us, Tottenham, Chelsea, Man City, Liverpool, and Manchester United all being thrown out tomorrow, and that is, that goes for the European competitions as well. And what do we do then? Like, we've been looking forward to the Europa League semi-final, having the opportunity to play Villarreal and to get through into the Champions League, which you haven't been in for 4 seasons, 5 seasons, something like that, because it's a so-called elite competition and where at the pinnacle of the player's career where they want to be playing in. But it's meaningless now. Like, what, yes, you said there that players have come out, some players past and present have come out and said they're against it as well, and I want to see more of that. But what, as fans, what are we supposed to do? Like the Europa League semi-final, I don't even want to watch that game.
Do you know what, mate? I watched the game tonight with Leeds, and I was almost kind of just watching it because it was a bit like, football versus these owners. Like, that's just literally what it felt like. And I kept thinking there was just there was this kind of like passion, sort of like there was nothing on the game. Like the Premier League's just continuing because it's happened so quickly. And then you can't really process that, because particularly as a West Ham fan, you're like, oh, it's good that Liverpool drew and I'm happy for it. But at the same time, I'm thinking, do we get top 4 anyway? Like, are we ending up second in the league? Like, does it matter? Like, I don't. And you said about the merit of getting to a Europa League semi-final. I want West Ham to have the merit, if we do get to the top 4, that we did it off our own back, because we've been brilliant this season. And you take that away from us, it would be great. I'm not lying. I would like an away day in Europe, but it still cheapens it. So you still lose that.
Yeah, and also, Corey, as you may remember Joe on All Leeds TV, and just Joe, he said at the start of the season, Leeds would be getting Europe, and if they keep the Big Six out of the competition, Leeds would be fourth,
Joe would love it,
into the Champions League, and he'd be saying it, I told you, sir, like he always does at the beginning of the season. I'd be loving it, mate. But, and as a Leeds fan, I agree with James when he says he doesn't like the announced Super League, and he hopes he doesn't tap, and that's from the Liverpool vice captain as he was tonight.
What did you lot make of Jurgen Klopp's comments? Because I think this is like a lot of people have got a bit of a spotlight on these managers at the minute. For me, I think Ollie, it was too quick a turnaround, so I could understand people said he bottled it, but I could get it a little bit. I think Tuchel completely bottled it, by the way, from what he come out and said.
Yeah, I agree as well.
And then Klopp, I found interesting because he gave us a bit more in terms of he didn't agree with it, but I thought he was a bit odd when he spun it, because he took the protest outside like really personally. Like he took it to heart.
This is the same Jurgen Klopp that in 2015 has come out and
also 2019 as well.
2015 and 2019, I believe, or it might just be 2019. Has actually come out and has avidly spoken up against that, and now he's kind of going back on his words a bit. And I feel that Andy says that Klopp will walk. I hope he does, but I can't see it. I think Liverpool. Yeah, I'd love to see all of the Big Six managers walk. I'd love to see, I'd love for it to come out and to be proven that Mourinho was, he walked off the back of that and not because of results. And it makes for weird timings anyway when we're in the cup final at the weekend. But do you know what about the Mourinho? I don't know if you saw the Mourinho thing. This is just a bit of an off point, but it did make me laugh when they were outside his house asking him, "You all right, Jose?" Do you know Jose Mourinho has received the biggest payouts of any of the clubs that he's left, and Tottenham gave him 30 mil. How do you think Tottenham gave him 30 million pounds? Because they know they got 300 million coming next year. Coming back to them, exactly.
It's going to come from the Super League money that they've got from Perez and the Glazers, who's
it's disgusting.
The vice chairman. That's how they probably paid him off, because I know Elena, who you know from All Leeds TV before the whistle blows, and a few other Tottenham fans, they don't understand how Tottenham have managed to pay off Mourinho if he wasn't for this Super League. Saying if it wasn't for this Super League that they've signed up for, Mourinho would still be in a job, and I can't understand how they've sacked him leading up to the cup final.
They sacked him 6 days before a cup final, and the whole point of him being there is because he's supposed to be this incredible cup final specialist. And to be fair, look, Tottenham are awful, and I do enjoy watching them struggle. But if I was going to have any man in a cup final, and I was thinking about it, Jose's up there, so it wouldn't be like
he's certainly above Ryan Mason, that's for sure.
Yeah, Ryan Mason and Chris Powell are in caretaker charge of Tottenham for the remainder of this season.
But it's crazy to think though, we've got to think like, so far it's just Mourinho and Klopp that have come out. For we know, within the next couple of days, there's so other top managers and other good players that might come out obviously, as we are, the few's not happy about this, and before we know, they could end up walking or get a sack. And it's changing the game. The game was what we've known it as is Premier League, the best league in the world. It attracts all the top managers, the top players from all around. To now, it's practically we're going to start losing them all.
I'll tell you what as well. I don't know if you saw FIFA's statement yesterday. They come out and they were a bit on the fence. And I said to someone, I said, don't buy what they say because it sounds like they're condemning it, but they're not actually actively going against it. And then FIFPro come out today and said, look, we're opposed to it. I'm saying, guarantee you, if they make the Super League, they'll be able to play internationals. It's just this UEFA tournament thing that's the problem. Because UEFA, fair play to them. I know they're not guilt free in all of this, by the way, either. Their plans I'm not a fan of, but they just stood really, really firm. It's such an odd thing to see play out. I don't know what
it is.
I want to get all of your opinions on something as well, because obviously you follow clubs that aren't in the so-called elite or big six, whatever you want to refer to it as, the greedy six. If Arsenal, for example, or Chelsea or Tottenham or Man City or any of the others I've not mentioned have a big Super League game on the Tuesday against Juventus, and they're due to play West Ham on 2 days beforehand, 3 days beforehand, and you go down there to Ellen Road or to obviously the London Stadium to support your team, and you see them rock up with a bunch of kids, how do you feel about that?
That's just disgrace. It would annoy me, but B, I don't understand, and this is a big point to remember. I think the Premier League is better. As much as I don't like Tottenham and I don't like Chelsea, but it's better for having clubs in there because you get those London derbies, and we've got one on Saturday. But the reality is, I don't think the Premier League can have clubs that are getting paid 300 mil every single season on top of what they've already got and expect it to be a competitive competition. Because you say that, we'll play the kids. Let's just be hypothetical here. If Arsenal got 300 mil and they get it every year guaranteed, they can have the biggest squad they want on the biggest wages they want. There's what we see a little bit with Man City will be ramped up for 6 sides. So
that's true as well. And then obviously, when it comes to the kids as well, you've got your best pick. You can pick up any of those kids, up and coming players coming through. So the likes of the Hale End, Smith Rowe and Saka, they won't even get a look in because Arsenal will go out and they'll just spend ridiculous money on buying maybe a Phil Foden or a Mason Mount or whoever they want and just chuck them in.
Well, exactly. This is what I mean. We've all been around. We all know every team in England, they always have the experienced players and they always bring in some youth players, and some of the youth are so talented. Yeah. And that's what we like to see. We'd love to see it, a bit of both. And the last thing we want is now this happening, where the teams are going to go and they're going to think it's good on them, buying all the best players in the world, you name it, bringing them over to England or Italy, wherever. And that means, like you said, it's leaving us with just youngsters. Don't get me wrong. We have some great young talented players here in England, obviously, and all around the world. But they still need that experience. And where are they going to get that from if they're all just going to leave and go for a paycheck?
Yeah, and also,
like you said, for example, Saka and others.
Yeah, and also you've got Calvin Phillips, who's just coming through the Leeds Academy now. He's in the England squad now. Say, for example, Arsenal or Liverpool come in for him 2 or 3 years down the line once they're in the Super Six and offer to Leeds 500 million for him. Leeds won't be able to find that out to turn that down, and say the likes for Jack Jenkins coming through as well from Leeds and all the youngsters coming through.
Yeah, West Ham as well. They'll find it hard to get. Yeah.
They'll find it hard. Those sort of clubs will find it hard to turn down the big money from those sort of clubs.
That's the only way you mitigate it for me. I know we're talking hypotheticals and we don't know if this thing goes through. I've got a feeling it will get quite a fair way. But you'll see clubs like West Ham and Leeds, they'll start to dictate price tags. Do you know what I mean? If someone comes in from one of these big clubs and says, I want Declan Rice, we'll say, well, we know you've got the money, pay 150, pay 175. Then we can start playing that. Like a lot of the other leagues across Europe now, they do to the Premier League where they say, well, we know you've got it. Why don't you pay up? And it's going to be, honestly, it's a horror show. It's great for West Ham, but then at the same time, the competition's not there. So it just doesn't feel right for me. Not proper.
Andy just said it there. I'll bring you in a second. I just want to go to Andy's comment. He just said we all dislike our rivals on the pitch, but we'd rather have them around, and that's it. And I'll tell you what, Arsenal fans, Chelsea fans, and Tottenham fans are all on the same wavelength today. We don't like each other, but we're all on the same wavelength. Man City and Man United and Liverpool, all in agreement. But that's. How it's crazy, isn't it, Ross? How everybody's coming together to unite against this and putting rivalries on one side. That's one good thing that's coming out of it, I suppose.
And also for me as a Leeds fan as well, Mike. I've waited. We went out of the Premier League in 2004.
Yeah.
We're back in the Premier League after 16 years away. Can't go this year to see any of the games because of COVID. Next year, COVID will probably be gone and we'll be able to go back into grounds. I won't be able to see now Leeds against Liverpool in the Premier League or Leeds against Arsenal in the Premier League at Ellen Road.
Mm-hmm.
From now on anymore with them going there now. So and like I said to you, Mike, earlier,
but they're saying
football is not the sport I fell in love with anymore.
But they're saying that those clubs want to remain in the domestic competition. So you'll see a version of that fixture. It won't be the same fixture. It won't be the same players on show from those clubs. But it'll be a version of it.
I think they've got to have some backbone, though. I'm telling you now, I'm not comfortable with having Tottenham, Chelsea, and Arsenal having that amount of money and playing us. It just doesn't sit right with me. Like it's not fair. Like I know people talk about the Football League. That's effectively what happened with that in the Premier League, but it just would not sit right with me. And there's no real like ambition. We see tonight. Imagine games like that constantly, where there's just nothing on it. It's just a random game. It's basically like a glorified friendly. Just not happy.
A lot of Leeds fans was Philip Pratt Q&A that I did on The Athletic before every game to say get involved with the Q&A. Someone tweeted him when, "Why are you doing this for a meaningless friendly?"
Yeah,
that's Leeds fans, and there were Leeds fans outside the ground tonight, Corey, Liverpool fans as well, booing Liverpool as they arrived at the ground, and the shirts that Leeds wore before kick-off were said, "Ernie with the Champions League, and then football is for the fans" on the back of our shirts before the warm-ups. I mean, put those shirts in the dressing room for Liverpool players as well, and they turned it down and said they wouldn't wear them.
Yeah, problem is with it, because I know people say like, can't the players won't be happy, and you see a lot of players come out today and say that's not the case. But while there's players that won't be happy with it, there'll be mercenaries out there that will smell a pound note and think, actually, do you know what, that sounds all right for a couple of years, like we had in China a few years ago until they started regulating a bit better. Like it'll just be like that. It'll be a real sort of face off between, you know, who wants the money and who's in for it, and you know who really wants to play football. So I guess we'll see, mate.
I mean, going back to what you said earlier, I mean, if you ever said to me at the beginning of the season, like halfway or towards the end of the season, like fans like ourselves, West Ham, Leeds, Spurs, all the rivals come together, I would have been like, I don't know what he's drinking. But of course, now it is happening. It is great to see, because like you said, rivals aside, we all just want to watch the game. We all want to love football. And it's like they're trying to take that away from us, because like you said, they're selecting a handful of teams to give money to go to a different league, to get all these players, and then the other teams are basically just saying, well, you don't interest us, you just do whatever you want to do. I mean, let's be honest, as a West Ham fan, of course, I would love for us to win cups, I'd love for us to get Champions League football, you know, of course, but I want us to earn it. If we earn it, then I'll be happy, and then I'll say, you know what, now this is going to be great. But if we just get handed it, it's not the same thing, and it's like, and I'll talk for the rest of the teams as well in the same situation. They're going to be excited for the team, but then when they realise that they've only just been handed it, and you're going up against all these other European teams that have obviously earned their way there, they've got the money, but we haven't, that's when it's going to hit you, and it's going to think, well, hang on a sec now, this is going to go really wrong. We could actually get humiliated here, not only as a team, but as fans.
And I'll tell you what, just 1 second, Russ, the Italian teams that have signed up for this, they've signed up for it because they are in heaps of debt, masses of debt.
Yeah, they are, mate, yeah.
Same with the Liga, though, isn't it, as well?
Yeah. And it's because it basically pays off all of their debts in one go.
Yeah, and also, you've probably seen him on all these TV calls as well. Ben from Rivalry Side, the Liverpool fan, he was due to do the Leeds v Liverpool watch-along tonight. This morning, he cancelled doing the watch-along, and they did the debate show that we're doing now on the Super League, giving their true thoughts, going with people on to give their thoughts as well from the clubs that are involved. And well, I know I've got you from a club who was involved, Mike, and I had Wayne on earlier from another Arsenal fan, but we've got 2 West Ham fans on now who are not involved. Me, a Leeds fan, not involved in this. And
well, you're not involved in it now, but you might be brought into it eventually.
Yeah, and we're all coming together as one and uniting, and all the Leeds fans tonight, we're not just team who actually supported us. Is other clubs like my youth supporters tonight. I know a few
Yeah.
West Ham fans were probably supporters. There were a few Liverpool fans who were in All Leeds TV stream last night. Go and check them out after you watch this, guys.
Well, you mentioned them enough for us, so we don't have to plug them anymore.
But this is what I ask you: is like, how would you reckon?
Well. 1 minute, I'll let you come in a sec. The Liverpool fan in there last night went, "I hope you smash us. The game means nothing to me anymore," and that's
Sad, that.
Liverpool fans saying it. And I've got an uncle who's a Man United fan on my dad's side, and I feel sorry for him. I mean, to no longer probably won't be able to see his team on the TV again. He's been once to Old Trafford, which I know about. I'm not sure if he's been more, but I know he's been once to go to Old Trafford to watch the games, and I feel sorry for him not being able to go and watch, say, Man United against Leeds at Old Trafford or Man United West Ham anymore. He'd be watching Barcelona, Juventus.
That's as well. Like the away days.
again.
I didn't actually say that, but the away days for West Ham, like Chelsea away, Spurs away, United, Liverpool, those are proper days out. You know what I mean? They're days we look forward to. Yeah, all right. Sometimes we get spanked, and Fernando Torres turns up or whatever. But that's part. Someone was like, we talked about it on the stream the other day. Someone was taking a minute. They were going, "Oh, West Ham will get battered in the Champions League." I was like, I don't really care. Like, we're not entitled. Do you know what I mean? If we've earned it, we've earned it. If we're there, we'll just do our best. And as long as the lads go out there like we have done this season, that's all we ask.
Yeah.
We're not. Whereas I think sometimes, and you've got to be very, very careful because, I did a video on my channel the other day, and I was like, don't try not to tarnish the fans of some of these clubs with the same brush because a lot of them don't agree with it. And a lot of them, but these owners feel so entitled to this money. They feel so entitled to these trophies. And with all due respect, they pulled up a list of all the European Cups that some of these teams had won. Tottenham won one in 1961. What on earth have Tottenham got to do with, European heritage? It makes no sense. So it's all about money. They think they're ninth richest club in Europe. That's the only reason they're there.
And also the new stadium as well, because obviously they've had their stadium, they've moved to the new White Hart Lane as well. That's the two reasons why they're involved. That's literally it. Yeah,
but that's a monopoly, mate. Because if West Ham had a nice stadium that didn't look like didn't have an athletics track and we've got the same capacity, just because it's not a football stadium. Like, where do you draw the?
I'd also like to add in that as well. There's other lower league teams, like people that don't realise, except from like us, people like ourselves. They've got some great stadiums that could be used for other like cup games and stuff like that. Like I'm just thinking out loud here. MK Dons, for example. I've been to MK Dons, and that stadium is unreal.
No.
And
I don't even want to. No.
There's other stadiums out there that are decent
don't
enough to have
mention
cup
MK
games.
Dons. That's franchise enough. Like we've spoken enough franchise stuff. We don't want to bring MK Dons into it now.
Chris, where to you, mate?
MK Dons started it off. MK Dons were the first franchise club in this country.
Yeah, and Chris Waitina says it's a disgrace. It's upsetting what these clubs are doing. We need to stick together and let it not happen. On another hand, let them go and watch what happens when they come running back. And like I said, and I'm not sure if you will all agree with me, start them down in the Northern Counties East League Division 1, where they're playing the likes of Paulgate FC, Morby Main, these local non-league sides. Start them off down in that division where they'll probably only get 2,200 watching them. See how they go then with Gary Cecil away from home. See how
do you know what's awful about that? Do you know what's awful about that though? Is even if they wanted to come, say they wanted to play their, Super League, and then we just threw them in wherever Vanarama, still get 300 mil. Like to them, it's just like free money every year. It's like Monopoly. Just go pass and go every year, pick it up, and and then they'll inevitably get back there. It's fundamental. It's just the whole point of sport is competition, and you can't. It's a bit sacred. Like you can't actually sort of play with that. People mention new formats for Champions Leagues. I'm all for. If anyone's read those Champions League or the new rules, one of the things in there is to have like guaranteed elite clubs in there every season. So like they're not squeaky clean either. I don't know. The state of football at the minute it's just come to a head. Like it was probably always going to do this, but just now the way that you've got UEFA against Florentino Perez. Now it's just coming. It's just ruining football, and particularly.
I agree.
Football as well.
I agree with what you both just said. Obviously, like you both made good points. Like it would make sense, if they do come running back, start them off in the lower leagues. Like we've seen it happen before in history with like Glasgow Rangers, Juventus, going straight to the bottom, and obviously have to work their way back up. But then the only problem is, like you just said, it can happen, but they're still going to get that money.
It's happening already. Yeah, I was just going to say, Ross, it's already happening anyway. There's already FC United and Manchester and AFC Liverpool in existence anyway. That were all starting to go against their existing owners. So there's going to be plenty more clubs like that are formed in the next couple of weeks or months on the back of this as well. I can see it happening.
Yeah, Mike, and it wouldn't surprise me if, like, the Arsenal Supporters Trust, the Chelsea Supporters Trust, Tottenham Supporters Trust set up their own league where it's just fan-owned, like FC United and Manchester are their fan-owned, see Liverpool, their fan-owned, just start up a fan-owned team and all the fans who would support the normal team
we might finally get rid of our owners if that come in. That'd
Exactly.
be quite nice, to be honest. That's the dream, isn't it? Like that'll be some sort of weird outcome of the whole thing. But you know what? I'll tell you what. Some people talking about West Ham's owners, and they're saying, I don't think they. I guarantee you, if West Ham somehow managed to pull themselves into this greedy six argument, they would bite their hand off. They would be like, "See you later, bye." They would sell us right down the river, and they really don't care. Like they're like different level. They don't care now. So if you give them a bit more money, they'll just be unbelievable.
But like we keep going back to saying, like, this is what I think we've all got a good point, is it comes down to the fans at the end of the day, and this is what they got to realise. If they can make this other league, break all these big players there and that, but what they don't realise is they're going to keep building up the money. Some of us don't have that sort of money. Even if we try to, we might be able to go for one game if we're lucky. The money is going to, like you say, overtake it all. The fans at the end of the day, though, are the backbone of every football squad. Every football team, it's all about the fans. So if they don't have the fans, like you said, if we get together, boycott games, protests, you name it, eventually they have to back down to us. They've got no choice because who else is going to pay the money otherwise at the end of the day?
Well, that's why if you're a club in that kind of greedy six,
and that's what Leeds put out earlier, Corey. I don't know if you saw that on Sky.
I did, yeah. I wonder where we all went for a minute. I was like, where have I gone? I'm just talking to no one. Yeah, very good. Yeah, I liked it, mate. I've got a lot of time for Leeds fans, and I think generally the ethos of the club, and it's good to see what they did. I don't think Jurgen quite understood it, but fair enough. He's probably still trying to get his head around it as well. To be honest, by the sounds of it, he's just seen what we've all seen and's kind of gone. Don't. Jurgen will walk. I've got a feeling, if he doesn't like it, he'll walk.
Yeah, he probably will. Corey.
What was you? He was going to just make a point though. Anyway, I wanted to hear what you were going to say on there. Obviously, the greedy six there. I wanted to see what point you were going to make anyway.
Oh, I forgot.
I mean, the only thing I can say about the greedy six is it doesn't make sense. Like, why would you want to go to a bigger league? Yeah, I get it, more money, but you've already got money. Why do you need more and more? You've already got money. This is why you're where you are now. This is why you're the so-called top six, because you've gone out, you've got your players, you've got youngsters, you've got talent coming through, you name it. Like, perfect example at the moment would obviously for Man City would be Phil Foden. Great own talent. He's got every potential to be a top class player. Yeah. But now you're putting that in jeopardy of his career now by going into this league where you're going to get all this money, and you're just going to, let's be honest, even if they say they don't, we all know they're lying. They're just going to go and throw that cash and get all these big players in, which is going to throw people like him out of the door.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I was going to say, I remember my point. It was just that in order for the kind of those clubs, people are saying fans have got to protest, you've almost got to have. Because like I say, I think it's more likely to happen than it isn't to happen. In which case, let's just assume you get there and they fix the league up for this summer. No fans participate in it. Don't buy the merchandise. Don't buy. You see it with West Ham fans now in terms of sometimes saying, don't go and buy this or don't go and buy that. And it's hard because particularly with things like season tickets, because you want to go and see your club, but you've got to remember these people feed off it. Like they feed off the fact that you love your club so much that you're willing to be pushed to a level, but. I think this is the breaking point. I think Sky and BT, they're all guilty of it, putting the price up and making it hard to watch football. But to go against the whole ethos of football is a completely different conversation. And people really, of these clubs, that don't like it, don't watch it. And eventually, it'll die a death. You'd have to hope it would die. It's the same with the Premier League. If all those top six clubs leave, and this is why the Premier League, I hope they don't back down, the product of the whole Premier League and the TV deals collapses because all of a sudden they're saying, well, there's no Man City, there's no United. Why are we going to pay X amount of money? But vice versa, it's exactly the same for them lot. They've got to have people watching it and they're banking on people globally buying into it. And they might well do. People that have never been to Old Trafford, they might just say, I'll pay a $5 every month to go and watch a season ticket subscription type thing. So it might survive. We've just got no idea.
Yeah, but I don't see it surviving. Obviously, Wayne earlier on, I don't know if you heard what he was saying, but I kind of said about it as well. I think that a lot of these games will take place abroad. I think, we touched on it will get to that level, and I think it will become very much like American football, where there might be one game or one game for each team or something like that that's taking place, in this country at probably a neutral venue somewhere like that, something like that I should say as well. But the majority of those games will be played, like with Kroenke, will be played in the where the LA Rams are in LA and things like that. So that's the way I can see it. I really, if they carry on like with the proposed talks as they are, that's the next step. They're gonna play it where they want to play it at times they want to play it. So if you want to watch the game and you're based in the UK, who cares? You have to watch a game at 4 o'clock in the morning, 3 o'clock in the morning, whatever it may be.
Yeah, and this Leeds fan who was outside Ellen Road earlier, I know I showed it earlier on the stream as well, but this Leeds fan outside Ellen Road earlier tonight, RIP football, he's probably a young fan, probably never seen the likes of Man United, Liverpool or Chelsea at Ellen Road before, and he's put that holding that sign up outside Ellen Road tonight with his dad doing the protest, and there's Liverpool fans there as well, and a lot of other clubs, fans there as well. I've even saw earlier on some photos when they were looking, there were a Burnley fan there as well. So
there'll be people from absolutely everywhere, and I think that I think it was you, Corey, that said about it a minute ago with the merchandise as well. Like from Arsenal, I've brought, I've got Arsenal bed sheets, Arsenal towels, Arsenal mugs, Arsenal shirts, Arsenal jackets, Arsenal hoodies, the whole lot. And like from before when Kroenke was there, and some obviously in more recent years as well. But I don't know how I can feed into the club anymore by any means whatsoever, and that goes back to watching the games and actually looking out for the results and actually, like as I said before with the Europa League semi-final and things like that. I don't know how I can follow that. I don't know how I can follow the games in the Premier League because the club's owners have seen that as a dead competition that means absolutely nothing to them.
I'll tell you what it is. What the dilemma you're having now is probably what a lot of West Ham and Newcastle fans have with their owners, where it feels so pointless. Everything that happens, particularly at the start of the season when we sold Grady and Noble tweeted and all those type of things, and we were awful. We was sham. We was like, where are we going? What are we like? Newcastle exactly were the same with their owners. What is the point? Are we gonna invest? Are we gonna move forward? You're just seeing this at just a much higher level because all the sort of competitions that you aspire for, Arsenal have dropped off massively. Do you know what I mean? A draw against Fulham at home they're celebrating it like it's a cup final. It's mad because I grew up with Arsenal, Thierry Henry, and these players, just unbelievable players, and particularly with a brand of football from Wenger. So again, now you're saying, well, we want to get back in the Champions League. Can we do it? It's going to be tough. You're almost taking away that rebuild. Because if Arsenal do say, if Arteta does pull it off and in 2 years' time, you were able to get in the Champions League and compete for a title, you're losing what Liverpool fans had a few years ago with Klopp when they had to rebuild with him. And you lose that journey. And I find it astonishing that clubs like Liverpool and Real Madrid are behind this. Clubs with that amount of European heritage, particularly Liverpool. That whole club is built on these European nights. And for them, and it shows you how detached those owners are from not only the fans, but understanding the culture of the club. It
goes across to obviously Liverpool when they were, what was it? I can't remember where it was now, where they were obviously 3-0 down. They got back to 3-3 and 1 on penalties, didn't they? That final. And you can see how much that meant to Liverpool fans. And, it goes, to Arsenal as well. Because we got to the 2006 Champions League final. But that's the only time I'm going to see Arsenal in the Champions League. In the final of it, and even then, in other competition, in other sort of versions of that Champions League across the other seasons, if I should say, sorry, we've got spanked 7, 8, and whatever by teams like Bayern Munich, Barcelona. We're going to get absolutely hammered every week. We bottom of this European Super League, every single season. But because we're getting the money, the owners aren't going to give a toss. They're going to give a toss. They're going to give a shit. They aren't going to, because
like you said, it's mind-blowing.
Yeah.
It's mind-blowing because when you think about it, all those achievements so many teams have done, like a perfect one you just pointed out, that night, Liverpool, that's when all of the English football fans just looked as one. Like, even that weren't Liverpool fans like themselves, they looked at it and they thought, yeah, Liverpool going to lose 3-0 down half time. And the fact that they fought so hard to bring it back and they went on penalties, like, you're thinking, whoa, like, and not even that, like, Championship playoffs, for example, that time when Watford and Leicester were against each other, Leicester had that last minute penalty, Watford saved it and got a counter attack and scored. You got goosebumps. You're thinking those moments, and now you're risking all of those sort of achievements to go to another league to get money, but yet you're throwing it all away. Like, they don't realise all those titles, all those medals and that, you're just throwing in a bin practically for nothing. And for what? Just for a bigger paycheck. As long as you stay loyal to the fans, of course the fans are going to stay loyal to you. They'll pay your paychecks. So what's the point in going to another league?
And that's why it's going to happen. That's why it's going to happen as well, because the owners know that if fans are, if for the fans that don't renew a season ticket, there's going to be people that will jump in their place. And, Arsenal's waiting list is 8, 9, 10 years, whatever it may be. Other clubs of the greedy six are in a very similar situation. Man City, Man United, Liverpool, Chelsea. A lot of fans that are, maybe younger, maybe don't know much about the history of the Premier League, whatever it may be, will see that as the new norm, will accept into it, and they'll just replace the existing fans of the clubs that are already there.
Yeah, and also, Mike, you look at like Sir Erling Haaland, he'll probably want to continue playing for Norway in his international career. And say for example, Leeds getting the Champions League, maybe this year the clubs get kicked out, or say the next few years. And then we put in, say, £40 million bid for Erling Haaland to Borussia Dortmund, just for example. And then for example, Arsenal or Man City come in with a 90 million. Leeds probably can't then match that offer, so then Leeds lose out on a talent who probably wants. But he may turn, they'll probably accept both offers, and then if Haaland wants to continue playing international football, he'll come to Leeds. But say if he's not bothered about international football anymore when he's older, he'll go to the club where offered more.
I completely agree with that, but it's on a lot more extreme level. Leeds will be the clubs that are offering, what the actual value of the player is, and Manchester City will be like, no, we'll give you 200 million.
Yeah, and then Leeds will lose out on the money that, say, the club will probably put 440 million price tag on Haaland, for example, or one of these up-and-coming players, Sancho, Bellingham, who's a Dortmund now. Leeds will probably put in the bid that they've got the price tag on. Arsenal or Man City will come in with a, say, 250 million bid in. Leeds will then lose out on that money, on that player, because they're greedy of the money that the clubs in that Super League are putting together.
But I think this is where we're going to find out now in the next few days, even with players who are going to be the ones that really play just because they love the game, and the ones that are for the money. Because, like we said, I'll just say for an example, for me growing up, one player I've known that plays just because he loves football, not because of the money, is Mark Noble for West Ham. Yeah, he's had plenty of opportunities for years to go. If I remember right, it was one of them was Newcastle, and maybe 2 or 3 other teams wanted him back in the day. He said no. He said he wants to play for West Ham. He don't care what the money is. They offer him double his wages, whatever. No, I just want to play because I like playing for my club.
Mark Noble on that note is the last player that you'll see like that 100%. He's absolutely golden. There's I know people dig him out.
There are still some. Don't get me wrong. There are still some other players like him out there, but just not as. It's just really rare these days now because of the money.
Yeah, exactly. To do it, and it annoys me because people dig him out and go, Mark Noble, he's not a top player, but it's just because of. Again, if we see a Super League where everyone's jumping for the money and you've got a player like Mark Noble who, again, how he never got one cap for England, I will never know, considering some of the dross that's been in that squad. Like, I would have just given him a cap.
I tell you what, though, if things go the way that possibly a lot of people are assuming that they might do, Mark Noble might get his cap in the Euros this summer.
Yeah, and Craig Dawson and Aaron Pezzo may get called up as well.
I can't. It's hard enough defending West Ham players when I speak to Chelsea fans and Arsenal fans and they talk about, do you reckon, like Creswell will get into there? I'm like, look, I like Creswell, right? He had a great season, but against Luke Shaw and Chilwell, look, it's a different level. Like, I don't think it's quite. But I just want to say something, actually. I've seen something on Twitter saying Florentino Perez says that the contract's binding, no one will leave, there's no going back. So he's doubled down on Twitter. He's obviously, I think Madrid have had a game, and he's full on saying, no, we've all signed it. It's all done. So that's what I'm saying. Like, it's gone too far now past the point, and the Premier League need to have some backbone. Like, I know it's tough, and I know they're scared of it, but for the integrity of the sport, they've got to turn around and say, UEFA will anyway, because all those Champions League clubs will be out on Friday. So it's just about.
But 100%, what you just said is true, and if we want to think of a perfect example of that right now is the German league. The likes of Dortmund and Munich, they're the first to do it. They've said, look, you don't care how much you're offering us. We don't care about all that. We just like our fans and the football, so go away. And that's what we got to be like. Obviously, let's be honest, we all hate to say it, but majority of the owners in these days, obviously, like we say, it's all money, money, money. Mm-hmm. But if teams like Dortmund, Munich, and all teams like that can just say, we don't care about what money you offer us. We just want to play for our fans. Why, like you said, why can't we do the same? There is no excuse why we can't.
Because those clubs are already rich anyway. Look at the amount of money that PSG have got. There's no way they'll jump to it because they've got loads of money behind them anyway. Barcelona, I think, are the same. I think Bayern Munich are the same. You know, they've got loads of money. They don't need the money from the Super League. That's why they're not coming into it.
Yes, plus also, man, they're also fan-owned as well, and Paul fan-owned as well. And also with PSG, they've got Qatari owners, and part of their owners, they actually own beIN Sports in the Middle East, who actually have got exclusive rights for the Middle East and that part of the world for Champions League and Europa League coverage. So they won't leave because of that. Plus also Qatar is only hosting the 2022 World Cup. And I think FIFA has said if one of the clubs who are owned by Qatari owners actually join the Super League, the 2022 World Cup will be taken off of them.
Yeah.
I doubt
So
it. I reckon money talks, isn't it? I think that's the problem as well, because I think this is why I think it's such a big change that the Premier League have to stand very firm on it. But when people talk about compromises, I mean, how much money you'd have to... This is what I don't get about these Premier League clubs, because I know Perez is now coming out on Twitter basically saying that, not officially on Twitter, but from whatever he said. That,
Bayern, Dortmund and PSG were never invited.
Yeah, but they got Barca in financial problems. Real Madrid, we know that they're bankrolled pretty much by the Spanish government. Oh, that's come out quite recently. It's Italian clubs don't have the same level of coverage. So they all need it. And let's talk hypothetically. If this Super League bombs, right, and they go in there for 3 years, they get that commitment of the infrastructure payments or solidity payments or whatever it is, and then they can just leave, and then they can try and get back in their own leagues. Like, it doesn't matter. Like, they're just basically getting a huge amount of money for a certain period. And let's take Tottenham, yeah? It's different with clubs like Arsenal because I think, let's be honest, they're much bigger. But Tottenham, getting that kind of financial investment and then leaving it a couple of years later and coming back into the league, look how much stronger Tottenham have got no right to be up there with your Cities and Chelseas, but they've built and they've sold right and done whatever, yeah? Imagine them having that amount of money to play with. West Ham can't compete with that. We couldn't compete with that if we were in the Premier League for 20 years. And they could do it for free.
Leeds can't either, Corey. You know, we've just come back with... We've had financial problems ourselves. That's one of the reasons why we got relegated back in 2004 when it was just 12, and now I'm just turned 29 or end of last month, and I've waited 16 years to see Leeds play Arsenal, Man United, Chelsea at Ellen Road. Yes, I saw us play Man United at Ellen Road in the Cup, but I'm on about in the Premier League, and I went to see Man City in the Cup a few years ago. Which
I tell you what,
and I won't be able to see that anymore.
Exactly, but there's something I said earlier that I want to revisit as well, and it's basically the owners of those 6 clubs. You know, the analogy I'm going to use is they're your mates as such, right? One of these owners, say Stan Kroenke is your best mate. You've gone away, you come back, you've seen him sleeping with your missus, but he's seen you, and he's just continued to fuck her anyway because it benefits him.
Yeah,
I've seen quite a few people use that analogy.
It's a simple
analogy. I've watched. It's like you've been with someone for 30 years and then they've just cheated on you, and then you're like, now what do I do? Like, do I just keep going along with it?
Yeah, but not even that. Like, you've walked in on it and they're just fucking, because it benefits them, they just carry on doing it anyway.
Yeah, and also I heard earlier as well, all the clubs in the ESL have signed a 23-year agreement, and the legal advice is that the creation of the competition cannot be stopped.
Yeah.
So the league cannot be stopped, and and they're in it for 23 years.
It's
Honestly, I'll tell you what. Come tomorrow, I'll tell all of those 14 clubs outside the ones that are agreed are gonna throw the book at them. They're gonna throw the absolute, because the thing is, if all of them turn around and say we want this, because the Premier League will open it up, they'll be really vague about it. They'll just say, well, what course of action do you suggest? And all of them are gonna go, well, the harshest possible sanction that you can give to them.
I'm going to be glued to it as well. I've got to go. Thankfully, I'm going to the barbers to get this barnet trimmed and to actually get a haircut. They're going to have it on because they're Liverpool fans, they're Arsenal fans that are there. They're the guys that I go and see, the barbers. They'll have it on, and there's going to be a hell of a conversation going on between us, and I can guarantee they'll have it on their screens. So we'll be able to follow it across the whole lot, and it's going to be. I want to speak to Liam, my main barber who I actually see. I want to get his reaction to it, and I want to actually see, like, as a Liverpool fan, what camp is he in, and it's going to be an interesting conversation. I'll tell you that much.
It's more. It's you've got to keep your eyes glued on it. But for me, like in terms of the channel, I'm like, I'll do previews, and I'm thinking, does it matter? Like what am I doing this for? Like, does it even? And that's a crazy thought, because I've prepped it all, I've done it, I'm ready to go, and now I'm thinking, like, am I just going to watch a game where, of course I want West Ham to win, but at the same time, I'm like, I want us to go and pull off a shock against Chelsea properly. I don't want it under. Do you know what I mean? It's all a bit
under this bracket, and I understand where you're coming from, Cooks. I know how much hard work you put in for West Ham, where you enjoy your shows on there and your watch-alongs on there, and you can see how much work Corey puts in, and the guys put on the channel for the previews and reviews afterwards, and the watch-alongs as well. And this weekend, Corey, like you just said, the game against Chelsea, you're going to be, if you do the watch-along, it's like you're going to do the watch-along for a pre-season friendly.
Yeah, basically, exactly. Yeah, we played Bournemouth
today.
We played Bournemouth and we got beat 5-3. It'll be exactly like that. Like early in the season, it'll be like, oh, okay, fine. And then you'll know, but like when you you see it and you got to kind of do a bit of a post match on it, and you think, does it matter though? Like, is this going to be like what? Am I taking anything seriously from this? And that's going to be kind of what. And let's be honest, until you get to the Premier League, that's when you start taking results and performances seriously. Pre-season, everyone goes up in the air. And I watched, and again the other day I watched we West Ham were playing in the Youth Cup, and I was thinking, watching some of the players, but there's nothing like properly riding on it as such. Like West Ham in the first team in the Premier League is exactly where it's at, and it affects all of the clubs. I feel sorry for the clubs in the greedy six. At the same time, for us, it's just it's funny. I don't know if you saw Gary Neville on the last bit of Monday Night Football. He was just digging out like all of the clubs.
About a 12, 15 minute interview. Yeah, I did. Yeah.
I haven't seen it yet, but I've heard about it. I'm hoping someone puts it on Twitter or on YouTube or whatever so I can have a watch.
It's basically a continuation of what he said last night, really. Yeah.
That's what he said last night, and I must have to say, as you all know, I'm a big Leeds United fan, as you can tell with the stuff behind me on the wall there, my Leeds shirt on here as well, and we hate Manchester United, but we stand with Gary Neville on this situation. We stand with Gary Neville on this. So
I thought he was spot on.
I think, exactly. Yeah. I think, like you said, like we've all said as well, rivalries aside, it's amazing to think how we can all come together as we are, like all different fans, all like you said, rivals like West Ham, Tottenham, Chelsea, Arsenal, all of those combining together to fight this one thing. Like, you wouldn't have thought it, but it's happening. And like you say, this is technically only day one. We've still got the next few days that are good before we know it. Well, it could blow up. We don't know.
Do you know what it feels like? When you get a transfer deadline day, and then you get to and you spend all day waiting. It feels like that, but just on a continuous loop, where you're just waiting for the next thing, and it's unbelievable. Since yesterday, it don't feel like there's been a day. Like, I've been on stream, so I'm thinking what on earth is going on?
Yeah, because I know you was on All Leeds TV yesterday, Chris. So I thought and said you thought then, but I thought I can get you on here tonight.
I couldn't sleep, and then obviously Joe said something in the chat, and he was like, "Come on at 1 o'clock," and I was like, and everyone there's just like, "What are we gonna do?" I don't know. I don't know what we're gonna do.
There were Joe, there were Jack and Tash as well. I know Jack and Tash were down at Ellen Road tonight, involved in the protest. I think they were trying to get a few fans forced for a video that they're probably going to try and put out on all.
What I want to say as well is obviously Boris has come out and he's had his say as well from the government. What can the government do? And do you reckon it's Boris's place, or do you think he should just kind of leave it to the people that actually know what they're talking about?
It depends if it's legal though. Like I think they're trying. This is what annoys me, and I'm not digging out because I think it's a good idea of Boris and was it the Secretary of Culture or Sport, or whatever, basically coming out and saying we'll do everything we can do to stop it. I am telling you now, with the amount of money that they've got behind these lot, they have sorted out every legal route. They wouldn't have just come up with this and then they got there and go, "Oh, you can't do that," and gone, "Oh, you got us." They would never have done that. Like they would have had so much money invested. They would have seen all the loopholes. They would have known that they could go through with it. And the way that Perez is talking tells you everything that you need to know, not just about contempt for fans, but the fact that he knows it's going to happen. So you can just put up and shut up. That's his view on it.
Yeah. And so we're saying, well, all these fans, like tonight, like we mentioned, a lot of fans, we're not used to other teams wanting us to win against like Liverpool and Man United that we've got coming up on Sunday, but a lot of these fans now are all getting behind Leeds, wanting us to win these matches. And I sense across the football board tonight when Diego Llorente equalised.
Oh, what a player, by the way! I tell you what, how you managed to pinch him off someone, I've got no idea.
Fantastic header. And he's coming since he had injuries when he first came in, come back after his injuries, sorted in on the centre back, makes that right centre back his own now. Robin Koch, who was in first part of the season, he can't get back into the side after an injury.
Liam Cooper suspended still, of course.
Liam Cooper suspended tonight, so he had Pascal Strauch alongside him. And to be honest, those two tonight, fantastic defending against the Liverpool front three. They had Jota, Mane, and Firmino. Then Salah came on and defended well there.
I think you want to be a part of the European Super League now because your last two, you got 4 points from 6 against two of the biggest in that group. So,
and Mike, and like I said to you earlier, Mike, I only watched this game tonight, Leeds against Liverpool, because I'm a Leeds fan. Tomorrow, Chelsea take on Brighton.
Yeah,
I won't be watching that game. I'll be watching a game from the Championship.
I should be watching it because we've got vested interest in Chelsea slipping up. We really do. I can't believe it annoys me so much that even in games like Arsenal when we're 3-0 up and it was 3-3, even in games like that, they don't matter. And in the same way that the whole point of football is you've got disappointments and you've got triumphs. Like West Ham have been involved in 2 3-3s this season, coming back from 3-0 against Spurs.
Yeah,
and then bottling it against Arsenal. But that's the whole point of it. That West Ham fans probably know that more than most. It's up and downs constantly. Leeds, obviously, in the past couple of years as well. It is what it is. That's what makes it. If you can't get relegated or promoted or nothing, then it's what's the end goal? You get a nice trophy at the end and a big payout. It's game's ruined, lads.
What I will say is, obviously, as Russ knows as well, I follow Stevenage as well because that's where I'm from, and. I've seen their meteoric rise a couple of years back when they were conference and up through League Two and into League One and in the League One playoffs and things like that. And that's
played against Newcastle and Tottenham in FA Cup or League Cups as well, Mike.
But we played plenty. Everton twice in the same season. Southampton, I think, as well, Stoke, whatever. But they're sort of irrelevant now. It's more sort of in related to the rise up the leagues and my point. But of course, that's what we follow clubs for. We follow the clubs because you've got that promotion and relegation system. You're able to work your way up, and sometimes you suffer a setback and you drop down a league or 2 league, whatever it may be, and then you've got to rebuild and go again. That is football. That is what we all know. That's what we all love. That's why we follow our clubs and why we support our clubs. We don't buy into any of this European Super League nonsense that they're talking about, where you're given the God-given right to actually, just play them week in, week out with no consequences whatsoever. We have brought into the Premier League and we brought into the English football system, the pyramid system, and that is what we know and love, and that is what we want to kind of keep and fight for. Yeah.
Yeah, and Mike Calvin Phillips has just put this tweet out this evening, just in the last
I've seen it.
11:30. He put this out. He said, "This is what the sport is all about.
Mhm.
In that point tonight, what a team! Buzzing for my brother Diego Llorente, marching on to give all leads over, and then put some photos up from the game tonight. So there's one there when he's winning the ball.
Yeah.
I think he's taking it past Mane and
Yeah.
Wijnaldum.
There's
Diego-
the second best defensive midfielder for England doing his bit tonight.
And if you look at this photo, he's in the background of this photo, but just look how much that goal meant tonight to Diego Llorente against Liverpool, scoring against Liverpool tonight.
Love,
and
passion.
that's probably going to be his first and only goal against Liverpool after they've gone into this so-called European Super League.
And what I will say, going back to, obviously you see the love, the raw passion there from Llorente when he scored that goal. You're not going to see that if it is, Tottenham Harry Kane getting a last-minute consolation goal when they're 7-0 down against Juventus. It's going to be just a completely different level, different kettle of fish altogether. Yeah.
Yeah, he's just going to walk back to
everything out. Just tears it.
Yeah, you just mentioned there about Harry Kane getting the consolation goal for Tottenham against Juventus when they're 7-0 down. He's just going to walk back to halfway line, giving high fives to say like to Son Heung-min, Pierre-Emerick Højbjerg in there as well, and Eric Dyer at the back, who for me he's not a defender. He's a midfielder, so I don't know why.
He's barely a football player, mate. To be honest.
Eric Dyer is a Super League player. Like he's an elite footballer. Hector Bellerin is an elite footballer. Willian is an elite footballer. Tammy Abraham is an elite footballer. The list goes on. I could be sitting here for hours.
Yeah, Jordan Henderson, who's out tonight. Yes, he is a good footballer, Jordan Henderson, but he's going to be no longer being able to play for England. And you see, the England squad probably coming up. You'll probably get the likes of Mark Noble in there, who we mentioned earlier, Aaron Creswell, Lingard. You'll probably get the likes of Jack Grealish in there, Ross Barkley.
Madison, we've still got the tens kicking around. We've got so many tens. We don't need to worry. Mason and all that lot. We've still got James and Grealish and Lingard.
Like I said, we've still got some great young talent, especially goalkeepers as well. Obviously, like Pope and all that as well.
Bellingham,
Nick Pope, Bellingham there as well.
Sam Johnson and that. Yeah.
Yeah, Sam Johnson in there. You've
Sancho.
Also a right back. You've got the likes of Luke Ayling, who's doing well for Leeds this season. First season in the Premier League, and you would have thought. You'd have thought since he's come into the Premier League, he'll have been there all season.
You know what? It might be a bit of an unpopular opinion. Listen, I'd love England to go and win a tournament, but it would be great to see players like Ayling and that in the England squad because Phillips as well. They've worked for it. Do you know what I mean?
And Bamford as well, Corey as well. And imagine Bamford. Bamford scoring imagine England in the Summer's Euros final, and Patrick Bamford scores the winner for England to win the Euros. Instead of Harry Kane.
Can you imagine the scenes from all over the world, especially in England? Wow.
We'll still get knocked out of group stages. Don't worry. They'll somehow find a way. They'll play five at the back, one striker. I'm like, come on, Gareth. Do you not think you should be a bit more ambitious? Nah.
That's one person I want to see. When we've seen a lot of ex-players and current players come out. I want to see Gareth Southgate's reaction as England manager. I want to see what he says on this.
Yes, I reckon the FA and some of these clubs who are in this European League, this ESL League, Arsenal, Chelsea, and them, those managers who have not spoken out yet, they will probably have been told by the media, by their press officers, by their chairman, if you get asked, say as little as possible until we actually get more information on until we actually know a bit more information so you can expand on the questions. So just say very little as possible. Just say what you think, but don't say I think he's in the best interest for the club. Say if you think it's a good idea for yourself, and same with the players. Those tell the players not to do that. And I think the players should come out on social media, like Andrew Herrera at PSG. He came out earlier and condemned it. There should be other players like that coming out condemning it in likes of Harry Kane,
Yeah, exactly.
Like the Aubameyang, like Saka and them.
Who was the right back as well that come out and said it? Was it Pavard as well? I think come out and said something.
Benjamin Pavard. Jay came out and said something. So there should be players from each of those 6 clubs, English clubs, going across the bottom there. Arsenal, Chelsea, Liverpool, Man City, Man United, Tottenham should come out and say their thoughts. Milner's come out and said his thoughts tonight. He doesn't. He says he don't like it enough. So he doesn't tap in. I think other clubs, team players from those other clubs, the other 5 other clubs should come out and say something as well. Kane put out earlier and said thanks to Jose Mourinho, but he's not come out and said anything to do with the Super League. I want to see Harry Kane or even Tottenham captain Hugo Lloris come out and say something. And I agree with what Gary Neville. And I agree with what Gary Neville said as well before the game tonight, Mike. The match on Sunday between Tottenham and Man City should be void, and if he does go ahead, no one should even turn on that TV at 4:30 and watch it.
I don't want to watch it, mate. I couldn't care less about them two. They can go and have at it and do whatever they want with their Tim Pot trophy. I couldn't care. Like, that is how much they've ruined it for me. Like,
but what I will say is, on the flip side of that, obviously there's fans back in as well for that game on the Tesla pilot thing as well, isn't there? And there's going to be I think they're going to have to rethink that, because if fans actually turn up
and they want to kick off,
it's going to be a massive riot.
Yeah,
as a West Ham fan, I've seen it before, where the Germans, when they were mucking the club around a bit, and you see, like, at one point they were thinking about banning us. But thankfully they didn't. But then obviously, as soon as the West Ham fans got inside the ground, you've seen we protested it inside the ground at the match at half time, at full time. We got together and we were like, look, we don't care where we are. We're still going to protest if we know we're all in the wrong.
Yeah, and I'll tell you one more thing as well. I'll let you jump in a sec, Corey, but I'll tell you why they've come out and they said that on Sunday and not Saturday. Imagine the reaction from Chelsea and Man City fans in that stadium at the semi-final. That's why they've waited till Sunday.
Oh, yeah, there were no fans. There was no fans in the Chelsea semi-final. There were fans in the left.
But there were people outside. There were people from Leicester and that as well, though. Like,
there was Leicester, Southampton on the Sunday.
Just give Leicester the FA Cup, like, genuinely. Just give them the FA. I'm not being. I know it probably goes.
PSG, the Champions League as well.
I was going to say about that West Ham thing, because why it's such an interesting point is because a lot of fans from other clubs that have got problems with their owners, and I'm not digging them out, tend to just talk about it but don't do anything. West Ham are the only club I've ever seen
they always do
go absolutely mental, to the point where they had to spend £100 million in the following summer because they were that scared. The West Ham kicked off, went on the pitch, but took up the corner flags. The guy got banned for, like, I can't remember. I think he could even still be banned now, but he did it because it meant that much, and it shows you that if you want it enough. And if this was West Ham, I guarantee you, if West Ham were in this the top 16, we would be at the London Stadium on Saturday in droves. We absolutely would not let that happen.
And it seems that's
but also a point you made there, Bo, is that some people know where the backroom staff and the managers live, obviously, and that's what they also got to think in the back of their mind. It's like, hang on a sec, we got to think the best for the club here now, because if we don't, not only are the fans going to let their voices be known and come together as we are doing now, but some of them, there's a couple of fans that know where you live, and you've seen it through, like, in the foreign leagues, like Italian leagues and that. They'll attack. They'll go to the house. They'll do whatever to the house, throw bricks, you name it. Like, I don't agree with it. I don't know. It will get to it. It will get to that point. If that's what needs to be done to get the word across, some fans won't hesitate.
Someone said, I think it was Carragher on Monday Night Football, was said if they sack Klopp, the Liverpool fans would tear down that stadium. I'm like, them Liverpool fans, they would be out there. I'm telling you now, like, any fans of some of these clubs, I've heard them, like, Chelsea fans want to go outside Stamford Bridge, whatever. Do you know what I mean?
I believe it's actually happening, though. I believe that Arsenal Everton on Friday. A planned protest. So, yeah.
Yeah. And the next Premier League game I'm going to probably watch is Leicester West Brom on Thursday on BT at 8 o'clock. Then the next one after that, Sheffield United Brighton on Saturday at 8. The next one after that, I'll probably watch Wolves Burnley at 12. Then I'll watch Leeds Man United only because my team's in it on Sunday. Villa West Brom as well. And I'll be watching Leicester Crystal Palace.
West Ham Chelsea. Don't fancy that.
I'll probably just watch that and cheer on West Ham.
Probably just watch my reaction when we lose 2-0 and I'm like, no.
That's what a lot of fans like to see, though.
It's not funny. It's not funny though anymore.
West Ham Way. I watched West Ham Way watch on.
I tell you what, I know your pain obviously because I've been an Arsenal fan. We've had that for years now, like 10 years, whatever, 15 years, you name it. Where the FA Cup has been our saviour, and that's been,
took away from you now, Mike.
We've been so bad in the league that the FA Cup has been our saviour, and that's been the only trophy we've actually been competing in.
Oh, poor you competing for a trophy. God, I bet it's tough at the top.
Corey, instead of watching the actual game itself, I'll probably watch the West Ham Way and watch the watch along if y'all do want to watch.
I don't know.
To celebrate with you, mate.
It's also, like you said, the fan TVs as well. Like, for example, Arsenal fan TV. They're also obviously known for Arsenal fan TV.
I tell you what,
this is where you're going to find out.
Yeah,
this is where you're going to find out from fans. What they're going to do, because I reckon some of them will go on those shows, obviously, and that's where these shows are going to get even more popular than they already are for all the fans that all have their own shows. And to see what the fans are going to be like, this is the time, this is where they're going to show it, because they know, regardless if they say they don't, we know that half the players and half the backroom staff, we know they watch it. So you know they're still going to watch it.
I'd find it hysterical if one of them watched one of my previews. Can you imagine?
It could happen, though. It could happen.
It feels good enough. What's he talking about? You're hilarious.
Hey, this is what we're saying, though. This is the thing about it. We don't know, but it can happen.
Yeah, you're right. You're bang on.
But going back to Arsenal Fan TV, what you were saying there as well, there's so many people there that I know for a fact they're opposed on this. Like Robbie, DT, there's so many of them that are massively opposed. I think Robbie had an interview earlier on with the Arsenal Supporters Trust guy. I can't remember his name right now off the top of my head, but he's come out and he's come out and he's basically said, do all you can to stop this and fight the long fight until the very bitter end.
Yeah, and Mike, another Arsenal fan who probably would have said the same is Claude, who's no longer here.
Exactly.
He'd be disgusted with this, Mike.
Oh my God, he'd be absolutely raging because Arsenal's not just a club; it's an institution. Like English football, it's massive, it's huge. Like I know City and Chelsea come along, and I know they've got their own relative histories, but Arsenal, Liverpool, and Man United for me are the three biggest English clubs going. So it's a shame to see that. And I know we've kind of been sort of blindfolded walking into it because a lot of the things, when the American owners did come in, no one really kind of anticipated that they would set up and that they would do this because no one can quite get their head around why they would take it away. But
and a lot of these owners, what I will say, just kind of sorry to cut you short there, a lot of those owners, I think bar maybe one or two, are not even seen at the grounds. And if they are, they distance themselves anyway because they know that already the Cronkies are getting a massive backlash from Arsenal fans as it is. It's been going for years that Arsenal have wanted the Arsenal fans have wanted Kroenke out. The Glazers at United, 100% the same. The Liverpool owners, the same.
And there's Daniel Levy was probably Daniel. I was listening to the Irish Hotspur earlier, Corey. And Matty and Matt,
he never come back to me when we beat him 2-1 at the stadium. He was giving it this is war, and then when Lingard put it past Dyer, I was like, God, you've gone a bit quiet, mate. Yeah, he's a nice guy. Yeah.
I listened to them, and I was speaking to David Daly on via WhatsApp over the call on WhatsApp earlier, and he was disgusted with the CAD videos earlier and fans he had on there. They were disgusted with he did. They were disgusted with Mourinho and sacking as well, and they were saying Levy was at the game on Friday, but they only saw that because Sky showed him, and they only showed 30 seconds, I think he said, of Levy at the game, and that's because Levy after took the shot to put in the programme. Levy pushed the cameras away so he couldn't be seen on the TV.
Yeah.
Because these owners don't want to show their face on TV.
But Mike, you mentioned this earlier, and I agree with you. What they don't understand is they're going back on the word because, like, for example, the reason your team appoints a manager is always for something. It's whether it's to boost yourself just a couple of steps up the league or to win a cup. And for example, like you said earlier, Mourinho with Spurs, the reason Spurs got him in was so they can finally say, look, hey, we've won a cup. He's got them into the final, whether along with the players.
Yeah.
And now they've sacked him. And like, it's like, hang on a sec.
6 days before the biggest game of their season,
Exactly, and like, wouldn't it have made sense to think, right, oh, hang on a sec, the guy's got you into a final, you've asked him to win you a cup. Let's say he did win him the cup.
Mhm.
You still going to sack him then? Just because he has a different opinion to you?
I know, yeah. And we've been at this now, me and Mike,
Oh.
anyway, for 1 hour 40, going on 1 hour 44 minutes now. So I think what we're going to do, I think we'll
Well, I will
call
say,
it today there now.
yeah,
I'll let you finish here, Mike. And then I think what me and Mike are going to be doing Saturday evening. So if you're
Yeah.
two around Saturday
Oh,
evening
wow.
and want to come on probably after the West Ham game, Corey. If you
Oh,
want
I'll have to. Yeah, give us a shout. I'll have to be late, mate. I've got a billion
Yeah.
stuff to.
Yeah,
You're
right.
probably going to
So,
stay
yeah.
on a bit longer than what we have done tonight, and just we're probably be on the other Arsenal fan we had on earlier. Probably be on. We'll try and get a few more Arsenal fans, try and get Liverpool fans on, and that get their reactions to this, and have a longer chat to this as well. But
I just want to say
now,
one line. That's
after
literally
Mike's
it.
finished here, we're going to end the stream. So I just want to say, Corey, thanks for coming on. And if anyone wants to,
Cheers, Corey.
I know you want to, go and subscribe to the West Ham Way and give Corey your support.
I'll be doing that as soon as we jump off, to be honest. And
Yeah,
what I will say, just one final thing from an Arsenal perspective. Josh Kroenke said, "Be excited." Yeah, all right.
Yeah, and Ross, thank you for coming on as well, my friend.
no problem, bud.
And also, as well, go and subscribe to the Worldwide Gunner Elite podcast, which Mike owns as well, which we've been on the channel there as well tonight. So thank you everyone for watching, and we'll see you again very, very soon. But just one more thing before we leave tonight. Just going to end with this comment up on the screen, which I'll just find here from Anthony Lee, a Middlesbrough fan. It says, well done to us all this evening. So thank you, Anthony.
Cheers, Dan.
Hope you
Thanks,
enjoy this.
Thank you,
Me,
Anthony.
Mike, and probably a few others will be back probably on Saturday, and we'll speak to you in the not so distant future. Thank you, everyone. And
No to
remember,
the European
subscribe to the
Super
West Ham
League.
Way.
Kroenke out. Kroenke out.
And also, subscribe to the West Ham Way and tell them Russ sent you. Cheers, guys.